Okay, gentlemen, let's talk here quickly about the rollout at Mel's place. So here we are, we're looking at the basement. This is the affected area that we're going to be heating, okay? We've got two manifolds going in here. One manifold, I would like to put in this wall right here between these two bedrooms. So since there's no wall here right now, we'll get Roy to lay out exactly where this wall is going to be. And then what we can do is we can put some rod into the ground, put a 2x4 across, and then we can mount our manifold to that. Talk to Greg, he's done this before. It's a 2-loop manifold. One loop will serve this room, and one loop will serve this room. Those are the two bedrooms. Now, when you're doing your piping arrangement, don't forget you got to hit the outside wall first. So your first loop out here is a 6-inch loop there. You're going to come out and do a 6-inch loop here. All right. And then you can load the room however you want, whether you go back and forth this way or whether you load it this way. Just follow the game plan. Now, this is outside wall here too, this little section. So don't forget that 6 inches has to wrap around there. Okay, so there is going to be a frame wall here. Roy's going to frame this wall in after the floor is down. So I do not want the radiant tube underneath the frame wall. So you're going to have to figure out how far away from the concrete he's going to come before he builds that frame wall. Then wherever that wall lays, I'd like to have a minimum of a couple inches beyond the frame wall. So if he's got 4 inches, our pipe's going to be at about 6. And then that's where your 6-inch loop is going to go, okay? Then you can load the room. I think this way is probably easiest. I don't care about heating in closets. I think the closets have changed. I think they go from here to here. But whichever, we can heat the closets as well. We must get the right length of pipe into here. The other thing is these loops, they need to be tagged with those little round waterproof tags that we do with the actual loop lengths on them. And let's make sure we get the proper amount of tubing into these slabs. So 2-loop manifold, 1 loop for this room, 1 loop for this room. We got to get all that pipe in, so make sure if you have to, you'll heat the closets, okay? The other manifold is a 4-loop manifold, and we're going to put it in here, I believe, behind this bathtub, okay? So what you're going to do is, again, Roy's going to lay out these walls of where they land, and we're not going to put anything right up against these walls. Now remember, this is outside wall here, so you are going to need to have a 6-inch loop cruise around here. So looking at it, the plan states for 1 loop in the bathroom and 2 loops in this kitchen sort of living area. All right, everything needs to get heated, the storage areas, the closets, the whole works, but remember, we don't go underneath cabinets. So Roy's going to lay out where this wall lands. He's going to lay out the depth of the cabinets, and we're going to stay a couple inches off of there. As you come through here, this is your first loop. It's an outside wall. That has to be a 6-inch center, right? 6 inches spacing. Then you go back to whatever loops the plan says to do, and you get all your tubing in here. So your first loop, I would suggest your first loop comes out, wraps around, and hits the bathroom. Your second loop is going to start to load this room, however you think is practical. Your third loop will finish the infill on this, and then the last loop that's closest to this outside wall, you guys are just going to cap it off. The reason being is we need to leave enough space here that we can run 2 pipes, and these can be right tight together, it doesn't matter. But after inspection, we've got to run 2 pipes out because we're going to heat this little section here, this little outside area. Because after inspection, this is all going to get closed in, and this is going to become another zone. So the 4-loop manifold, your first loop will go to the bathroom. Your second loop should probably grab this, maybe the outside wall. And then your third loop will be infill. Make sure you follow the plan on the layout, okay? So what we'll have to do is after inspection, we got to come back before the concrete is poured, and we have to run some heating in here. And all I want to do through here is basically 6 inches all the way around and load it up with as much tube as you can squeeze in there. There is a bathroom group, and I don't believe it's here. I think it's been moved. Again, after inspection, I want you guys to put some loops in there, and we'll just pop those 2 loops up out of the slab just with a couple pieces of radiant tube. We don't have to put a header or anything on it. Just label which one's the supply and which one's the return. So that's a 5-minute video. You guys are going to test with air. You're going to pump it to 50 pounds. You're going to gauge it so that Joel can see that it's under pressure. If he asks why we used air, it should be pretty obvious. It's because it could freeze. All right. So again, manifold here behind these doors works out perfect. 6-inch loop, 6-inch loop, infill the room, infill the room, all loops labeled with tags, air pressure test. Manifold back here behind this bathtub in this little storage area, space with the final loop, the loop closest to this wall, space so we can get a supply and a return out to heat this outside area. We're not going to do that until it's been inspected, because this is going to be future closed in, not for permit. Roy has to lay out the cabinets. I believe the island has been nixed. There is no island, so that's good. The more tubing that you can get into this space in front of the cabinets, the better. But let's make sure we keep our proper spacing, our proper lengths, the right amount of tube, and everything's properly labeled. Any questions, give me a shout, but it should be pretty straightforward, guys. Thanks so much.